story time. Here's what happens when you travel around and you get complacent. Because I've been here for a long time now, and usually I don't use my card, my American bank card, because I don't want a skimmer or a skiff or any of those things to hit it and I lose money. Well, in the Cebu videos, I guess I got hit. Because we came back, we were sitting here, and in the middle of the night, I hear ding, 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 ding. My phone goes off. I'm like, the heck is it dinging so much for something like that? You hear that ding? Yeah, well, it went off like 3 or 4 times immediately, fast. And I'm like, okay. And it's like 1:30 in the morning or something. So I immediately grab my phone and kind of look at it, and I'm like, okay, it's emails. What's the email? So I'm looking at it on the front screen, not actually going to the email. And I'm like, fraud. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here's those bunk emails, because I get them over here too. And I sometimes get the call saying, hey, watch out for fraud on this. You might want to look at this page, you know, all that BS. Or, hey, your bank's on fraud. Click this link and go to your bank and log in, where they steal your information. And I'm like, I'm not stupid. I'm not doing that. I'm like, well, I'll just call my bank, you know, later on, whatever. And so I go to lay down again, and I'm like, let me look at it and see what's going on. So I go into the emails, and I'm like, 3, 4 emails. A fraud alert for $59, a fraud alert for $22, and a fraud alert for $20, all within a minute of each other. Seconds they were gone through. Like, boom, then another one, boom, then another one, boom. Then the 4th one email was saying, are all these from the same thing? Are these fraudulent? According to our records, this is a fraudulent company or something like that. Around that is what it said. I'm not for sure exactly. So I go into the email, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go look at my bank account and see what's up. I go into my bank account, and I'm not even playing. Those 3 are pending coming out of my account. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. No, I don't know what these are. So I try to look up the little whatever name it is for the company and all that, and it says it's some kind of it's a third party school coins or something like that, where you put in the money and you get coins that you can buy food or coins for books or pay for semesters for online classes, something like that. And I'm like, what in the heck is this? So I'm like, hold on, no. Now I'm awake. And I'm like, okay. And my head's starting to become unfoggy, and I'm like, I better call my bank. I'm in the Philippines. My bank is an American JP Morgan Chase. It's not a Philippines bank. And I'm like, well, I got to use Skype. So you can throw down $3.49 for a Skype call, and it gives you 30 days of unlimited Skype. So I call the bank number. Doesn't go through. I call another number on the back of the credit card. Doesn't go through. Or my debit card. I'm like, oh my gosh. I go into my account. I find the help number. I call it. Oh, thank God it goes through. I talk to a person. Now, originally on the card, I hit yes, these are fraudulent charges. So it immediately canceled my card and kicked a new one to my house. My house in the US. Not my house here. So it canceled my debit card and kicked a new card to my house in the US. So now I'm really flustered, and I'm going, whoa. So I finally get a hold of the operator, who transferred me to the right department. The lady's speaking, and no offense, but it's already hard to hear people over Skype. But then, when they have a really hard attitude, or I'm like, what? Huh? Repeat that? They had a very, very, very deep Indian accent, and I couldn't understand everything they were saying, and they weren't. It was a call center in India, basically, that had a female with a deep Indian accent that didn't know exactly complete English, so she would twist words and stuff. It was weird, and I'm like, ugh. So finally we get through it, and she realized, okay, the card's been not used, so we need to put in a fraudulent charges on those 3. I've already done it. Okay. They shipped a new card. Oh, okay. It's the wrong address. Oh, okay. I will stop it. So she stops it. Now, when my bank immediately ships out a new card or sends out a new card, it goes to my phone. Immediately, boom, I get a replica card with the last 4 on it, and that's it. So I had the one that was getting sent to my U.S. address, and it had the number on it, and she canceled that, and I'm like, okay, do you need the address? And she's like, oh, no, sir, I already sent it to the on-file record. And I'm like, the address on file? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, no, that's the wrong address. It's the same address in the U.S. because my bank's registered in the U.S. I'm like, no, I live in the Philippines. Oh, okay. So we go in, she cancels that card, she goes in to try a new one, and she puts the address in the Philippines wrong. Because I get another update, and it's like, what? She's putting in a number, address, and all that, and here they don't have numbers, you have a street. And I'm like, no, man, that's not going to come to me. It's not even in the right place. You sent it to Manila. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, no. Addresses are different here. She's like, hold on. And I'm like, give me a supervisor, please. So I go on hold for 45 minutes, and I get a supervisor. He gets on, he cancels the card, he ships it to the right address, and he's like, okay, it's going to be 4 weeks to 2 months, depending on shipping. And I'm like, what? No. I can't do that. I need the card now. It's towards the end of the month, and I can't get any money on the 1st, and I need to pay for my visa extension and all that stuff. And he's like, oh, okay. So he cancels that card, puts in a new card with a rush. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Because it goes ding in my phone again, and I'm looking at it. This is the 4th freaking new card I got. This one I'm just like, okay, whatever, fine. All right, we'll wait and we'll see. I talked to some other buddies, and they're like, yeah, dude, it takes about 2 weeks. If you get it sent on the 1st, it comes on the 12th. And I'm like, okay, it's the 27th I'm doing this of, last month. I'm like, well, we'll just have to figure out other ways to do it. Because my bank account's good, it's just my card's bad. So I do bank transfers to my wife or myself for cash pickup or to go into our joint account here. And it's 5 days to get the money. I'm going, oh my gosh. So I do like 4 or 5 transfers to myself of like $500 each and stuff to hold us over. Now I go back in and I'm talking the next day to somebody else at my bank to try to figure out what was going on. And they're like, you probably got card skimmed. Did you use your card lately? And I'm like, no, I had. Oh, wait, I did. At the beginning of the month, I used it in Cebu. And they're like, well, somebody had to hit it. Do you have an RFDI wallet? And I'm like, yes, but I used it at 7-Elevens. I used it at ATMs. I used it in the mall. We usually don't do that. I'll usually transfer, because I have 2 joint accounts. I have one for the truck with RCBC with my wife, and we can transfer money there. Or I have one with PNB with my wife, where it's a joint account, where I can transfer money there. And then we'll just use the PNB or the RCBC card, because if we have a problem, we can go into the bank and physically talk to them and get it handled. I can't physically fly back to the United States to deal with my bank with any little thing. And calling them, you have to wait until the middle of the night, around 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, our time, to get them at banking hours, their time, because you can't call 800 or 900 number here. Doesn't work with Skype. And you have to get them when their offices are open to talk to a person. And normally it's third-party person, so it's very complicated. So it's much easier, because I had to deal with it once before, where my bank shut my card down because they thought it was fraud. It wasn't fraud. It was just I had used it traveling here, so I used it, and in the U.S. 3 times in 3 different states. I used it in Hong Kong, then I used it in Cebu, then I used it in Leyte, and they said, he's got somebody pulling money, and they canceled my card. And I had to deal with it. I didn't want to deal with that again. So we were trying it easy, but I got complacent, people. And I freaking used my card in Cebu because I was excited because we're registering my son as an American citizen and getting his passport. And yeah, and it wasn't immediately somebody skimmed my card. It was like, what, 2 weeks later, my card got hit? Yeah, they waited on my card or sold it or whatever, the info, and then 2 weeks later it gets hit. Boom, boom, boom. So you guys got to be careful. Whenever I hit an ATM or I hit a place to take money, I always pull on where you put your card in. You kind of pull on it or twist it. If it twists or it pulls off, there's a skimmer on it. You don't use it. So watch it with using your card. I'd advise you, if you're on vacation here, to do that. There's nothing else you can do. But if you live here or you're going to live here, get a joint account or get an account under your name at one of the banks, and then transfer your own money to your bank account and then use the bank account here. All right, you're going to lose a little bit of money. It's not that big of a deal when you don't want to lose freaking $100 or more, which isn't a lot, but it hit me and surprised me, and I didn't want to hit more, so I had to cancel it. So yeah, I screwed up and got nailed and had to deal with the consequences. Thank God, last month on the 27th, we did all this. What was it, like 4 days ago? 4 days ago, my card arrived. Very fast, very efficient. Got it. Immediately, you have to go in and into your banking app with Chase, we have a banking app. I went into my banking app, I logged in the card, got it activated, got it working, went to send money to myself, and I couldn't do it. I had to call up my bank. They had to okay it and say, yeah, that's you, okay, da-da-da. So I started putting my banking card back into the essentials that I needed that automatically withdraw my money, that pays for stuff like Starlink, stuff like that. Our money setting application, we use Cebuana. The app, if you're in America, use Cebuana. It gives you the best rate and it's cheap. You can send money directly from your account to your banking account here, or yourself money to pick up at any location, and it's very cheap and they give the best rates. That's what I use all the time. So I had to put my card into there, and I'm still having problems. My Gcash I can't load because Western Union won't accept my bank card. I gotta call my bank again tonight, figure out why and figure out what's going on and try to push it through. But all these things I've been doing slowly. Each night I'll add another one. Lazada, Shein, Temu, all these things, Western Union, Gcash, Wise, all these places you got to put your stuff back into. Plus, not to mention the other things that come out like Netflix, Starlink, stuff like that. I've got to put it back in there and get the card registered and being able to work. And it seems that each time I do it, I've got to literally go in, try it. If it fails, I've got to call my bank, and my bank's got to okay the transaction. Then I got to go back in and retry it again. And then if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I got to call my bank back again. I've had to do that so many times. Every night, it takes about 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the night to do it. So I'll go and I'll put 1 or 2 in at night. And then I'll come back and go to sleep, and I'll wake up, and then the next day I'll try it again. So I'm still adding it in. So you guys got to watch out. These are the problems you come up with in the Philippines that nobody really talks about. I mean, a simple freaking fraud transition on my card causes this whole ripple effect of stuff and goes crazy. And it's hard to deal with because it's not a Philippines bank. So be smart. Don't be dumb like Nate this time. Go in, fix the card to go to a bank account here, or if you're on vacation, check for skimmers and stuff. And I don't know if they skimmed it there. My wallet's got an RFID thing in it, so if I'm walking along, nobody can skim it just off my persons or bump my pocket and take it. Sometimes they do that, or they have skimmers that just automatically can pull cards as you're walking along within like 10 feet of you or 15 feet or something. They can't do that with my wallet. It's got a block on it, so it had to have been when I used it at one of these places you put in. And it's a common occurrence in Cebu and Manila in the big cities. It's not common out here, but then again, I don't really use it out here. So yeah, that's the story time with Nate as I'm driving to Maasin. And yeah, so that was a big problem. That was causing butt hurt on me and stuff, and getting mad about it and frustrated, and the frustration in it, and the being worried I wouldn't be able to make my visa or even get the Tekabon or fill the gas or get food, pay rent, pay electric, all that stuff. But we got it taken care of. We got it worked through. We got it done. All is good. Sweet. And now that's one less thing to worry about.